Anything you want to say, babes?
I just want to say thank you very much to everyone that's out there fighting for me. Team that's come together, and the support has been amazing. I've got a table full of rock stars here that are all working tirelessly around the clock fighting for this cause with me. And I just want all you guys out there across the world to know that I'm going to justify your effort, and I'm going to come back stronger and bigger and badder. And once I get back on my feet, we're going to justify all this. Make sure that all you guys' efforts don't go unnoticed. We're going to come together and have a huge party.
Ha ha! Oh, sookie now. I know my dogs are watching, and if you ain't, I know you will be. And if you're watching and you ain't my dog yet, you will be, because I'm Swede and I'm here to help you get busy living. What is that? For me, that's 55 months in a row on at least one epic adventure every single month. But be able to pull that off, it takes the right mindset. So here, once a week, we come through and try to help you understand the mindset it takes to be able to get busy living and whatever that means to you. So at this time of year, this show, we're going to be talking about how we always reflect on what the year's gone by and what's about to happen in the next year. But what we want to do is give you some mindset training when it comes to getting busy living in the upcoming year, a way to be doing this reflection wisely so that you can maximize your opportunities for prideful moments and minimize the things that you might do that you might regret. But first, since nothing is worth having if it ain't worth sharing, please help me welcome to the show, live out of Los Angeles, the dazzling D-Rex.
Hello once again, my friend, and to our friends in the comment area. I see you. And I would like to say hello to you. And why don't you say hello to us in the comments and let us know where you're tuning in from, because that's really interesting to us to see how far the branches of the Get Busy Living Project reach. So let us know who's here.
What's up, Rochelle? Are you coming at us from the EPA? Because if you are, we got a graphic for you. and seriously, it's cool for y'all to let us know where you're coming at us from, because you never know when that's going to become relevant to our topic. And on a topic like this, we have this week, D-Rex, where we're not just like I was just saying a minute ago. When you're going out of August into September, it's not like big reflection time, right? But when you're going out of December into January, because that year gets to change over, then it is kind of more significant. So we know a lot of you guys are going to be doing all this, looking back on the year and like, where were your wins and losses? And then you're going to try to like have resolutions and try to plot out the next year. What we want you to get out of this, the nuggets we're trying to bring at you, is while you're doing that, a way to do it mindfully, deliberately, intentionally, so that you can have, the purposeful, get busy living life that we're trying to describe to you. So D-Rex, I know you're a reflector. You look back. You're very insightful. So this seems like a juicy, meaty topic for you.
Well, you know what? I used to be really down on the idea of New Year's resolutions. I used to be no fun about it. I just thought it was for people who said they were going to go to the gym and then not go, or it's like, why can't you just make a resolution any other time of year? These are for people who don't actually want to do the thing. But I think that I was just being cynical. And I've really changed my mind on New Year's resolutions. And I do believe they're a good thing because, like you said, nobody cares about going from August to September. But people do feel extra reflective this time of year. And it's a good thing for them to think about what went well, what didn't, what can they do better. And if this is the time of year where they feel like doing that, then they should do it. If they don't want to do it in August, okay, but they do want to do it now. And I really shouldn't be down on it, right? Any time for self-reflection's good.
Hell yeah. So Rochelle said, I am. She actually is. Hell yeah.
Okay, then.
So Rochelle, by all means, anybody else that's in the comments with me, my man Boogie's in the house. What's up, Boog? Where are you coming at us from? If you guys have a New Year's resolution that that you have in mind, feel free to throw that up there. But we're going to be first. We're going to start off talking about pride and regret. Now, pride is a word that's described as being a sin, but we all know that there's a healthy pride as well. And so when you're reflecting, we want to look at the things that you're proud of that you've done, the healthy pride, not the arrogant pride, not the sinful pride, but the healthy pride. And
being proud.
Yes, things that you're proud of, and also being aware of the things that you regret. And I know regret's also a heavy word. So these are two tricky words. I'm aware of that, but we're trying to do something specific for you here with this episode, guys, so that when you're doing this reflecting, you're actually going to set yourself up for a little bit a little bit more nuanced pathway. And I think that that's very helpful. That's what we try to do. What's up, Bug in the house? Hell yeah. So first, when you're reflecting, you want to consider both of these things, consider them wisely, and then when you're setting up your resolution, be thinking about things that while you're executing this plan to make those resolutions come true, you're going to be guided by whether or not you're going to make yourself proud. It's a more powerful guidance, and you'll be subdued by the awareness of what you might regret doing. And we're gonna go through some examples, of things that you can either have pride in or regret for, like achievements and accomplishments. What things did you set out to do last year that you achieved, and like milestones or personal victories or whatever, and then like things that any goals you didn't miss or that you didn't make that you kind of regret. Do you have anything like that jumps off, D-Rex?
You know, I feel like I've been very hard on myself this year. I feel like there have been achievements that have slid on by without me acknowledging. And I just have been very down on myself for not getting enough done. Although all my friends say that I do is work. So I must be getting something done. And I think I'm just not properly celebrating it. So I think under achievements and accomplishments, I think that's something that I regret. I regret celebrating any of my accomplishments. I never took the time to say, "Good job, Diana." just just let it slide by. So I think that's something I want to be better at next year.
And that's actually a pretty accurate segue. So we've got this list here. Oops, where are we at? So these are what's up, Boogie? These are these are some of the things that I want to go through. So you put this list up for you. I know you haven't seen it like this yet, but this will kind of give you some ideas of where we're going to go, because what you were just saying about regretting not celebrating. Look at the next thing: personal growth and learning. So now that we're approaching this subject from this angle. When you're going to be aware of the things that you've grown in personal, what areas you've grown personally, and the things that you've learned. So you learned to celebrate more.
Mhm. Well, let's hope that I learned. Let's see how much I celebrate, right? Um,
And
I,
so with the, go ahead. Sorry.
I know that you've personally achieved a few things recently where you got the Schaefer swag up. And why don't you show off your t-shirt that you're wearing?
Oh yeah. It's paralysis is a mother.
Yeah,
I can't jump up there and show it to you guys, but this gear
it's
is
great.
actually legit. It's legit. I'm really happy about it. And I got a compliment on it at lunch today, so that's a start.
Yeah,
So
it's
yeah,
great.
we're gonna talk. I'm proud. Actually, I'm really, and look, number 3 right there. The next segue: relationships. I'm proud of the relationships that I fostered. I'm so happy that the Mezzacapos decided to walk this with us. I think they're going to be a great first example for I'm telling you, we're going to do 10. We're going to do 10 people. That's the mission of the Help Swede Walk Again organization, is to help 10 people to impact their lives in some way that, like my life was impacted. And for the Mezzacapos to want to be number 1 I'm really happy about that. I'm happy that we have that relationship. And when you're evaluating your relationships, what are things that you could be proud of? Like if you've been aware of ones that were good and you didn't want to lose them, so you did extra to try to make sure that you kept that, like that's something to be proud of. Or like if you had some conflicts in your relationship that you were able to get over, or if you had other people in your life that were going through it and you helped them through it. These are things to be proud of. You know what I mean?
You know what I'm realizing as we're going through this list is that I'm probably more regretful than I am proud. of my last year. And I think what's good about in this list, and you know what, I want to encourage anybody who's here, and I see quite a few of you here watching. I want to encourage you to put in the comments list something that you're proud of or regretful of from this list, so that we can talk about it as well. But I think that actually having to answer the questions is a big deal, because anybody can read this list and go, yes. But if it doesn't matter, you have to answer the question. It would even be more impactful if you would write down your answer to these things and write it down in the comment box, because that's what makes it a real thing. And that's what makes you actually really think about it. If you don't really sit down and answer each one of these things, then you're just going, okay, football time, like actually answer it. Actually answer it and make it real. That's what made me realize that I'm not super thrilled with myself over the past year, but I probably should be in more areas than I am.
Well, some of us, it's easier to cut ourselves down than it is to brag. And so it might be more of a comfortable conversation for you to talk to criticize yourself or talk about the things you regret than it is to talk to somewhat, because that's where pride becomes a problem, is when it seems like it's bragging, right? So a lot of people are uncomfortable talking about the things they're proud of, and because why? One of the reasons they hate being one upped. How many times have you been talking about something you're proud of and somebody's like, oh yeah, well my fish was bigger, like, so that's something else, to be aware of.
Well, I would say that I am proud of, I did spend plenty of time with friends this year where I used to say no a lot more. And even though it was a very busy holiday season, I was proud of myself for saying yes, even though I felt it was a lot on my plate, because I knew that spending time with friends was more important than me getting further in this business thing that I'm doing or this website thing that I'm doing. And I'll never regret spending that time with friends.
That's I think that it's harder these days because COVID and remote work. We're not forced to be around our coworkers as often, and we're not forced to socialize in person. So there's a lot of loss, and relationships are not getting fostered. There's an uptick in this next well-being and self-care. A lot of people are talking about well-being and self-care because mental health is under attack these days. And I believe it's we're not getting together. So I think relationships, this is not in any particular order here. It's not like one is more important than the other, but maybe I should have put relationships in bigger letters. But well-being and self-care also important, but what can you be like, okay, I'm looking back for things in this past year that are well-being and self-care items that I could be proud of. Like, how do you think about that? Well, like, are you physically stronger or in better health? Did you make a couple of decisions health-wise that are getting you there? Or are you spending more time with yourself? Like, did you develop a new habit that you didn't have before? Like, you know what I had to do recently for the first time, and this is how you know my love life is in the tank. I had to pluck my own eyebrows. I've almost always.
Oh no!
I've always had someone. So anyway, yeah, self-care.
That actually is an area that I am proud of myself, where I feel like I took better care of myself this past year. I feel like I changed my workout routine to focus on strength and balance rather than just cardio and how many miles can I run. Speaking of that, we should talk a little bit about, are we doing the 100-mile challenge? Because I feel like I want to switch it up this year, but we'll talk about that in a second. So yeah, I feel like I took better care of myself, more intentional choices with my personal health and balance in my life with that.
So speaking of relationships, and that's, I love to hear you say things like that, D-Rex, because I feel like you are harder on yourself than the average person is, and I like to hear you, embellishing some things that you're doing good for yourself. And we all have our idiosyncrasies. Maybe I'm not hard enough on myself. I had ChatGPT read the Life and Year of Swedism's book, and
Uh-huh.
and get its feedback on the book. That was pretty funny. I posted the picture of ChatGPT's response on Facebook, and I got like one like. I'm like, damn. I guess I don't know if it's personal, like they just didn't like how I said it, or if it didn't get shown to anyone. I don't know, but
Well,
sometimes I get tons of.
what was ChatGPT's thoughts on your book?
Okay, I have to pull that up. Let me get to it. It won't take long.
Okay.
So just reading the picture, and you can go to my Facebook and see this. Anybody that's watching. It says, I said, do you recognize any common themes or patterns, and can you identify character flaws? I asked ChatGPT about my book, because the book is just a series of my Facebook posts over the years, right? All the things leading up to me getting injured. That's basically how it's presented. So it says, based on the provided social media posts, it seems like you often share your thoughts on life, relationships, and self-improvement. Some common themes include the importance of trust, living a carefree and happy life, and embracing a positive attitude. You also touch on topics like love, freedom, and the value of giving more than you take. Your posts reflect on a mix of wisdom, humor, and laid-back perspective. As for character flaws, it's essential to note that social media posts provide a limited view of person. However, some posts suggest a carefree attitude that might be perceived as not taking things seriously. Additionally, your posts exhibit a playful and humorous tone, which may not resonate with everyone. Overall, your social media presence appears to convey a positive and optimistic outlook on life, with emphasis on enjoying the present moment and spreading positivity.
Okay. I feel like it pretty much nailed you. That's weird. That robot
Nailed
really
it.
knows you. Yeah. It really got the sense of your personality. That's interesting, because it takes people much longer to form that kind of thorough opinion.
I know, right? It's a smart thing. And so I actually want to go back to the relationship thing, because I have been
Okay.
talking about how it's been harder. It's harder for us to socialize. And it goes to show that it's been 2 years. And 2 years ago on New Year's, I hung out with this guy. And I've said many times on many forums in front of many people that minute by minute, ounce by ounce, is the most entertaining motherfucker I've ever hung around. And I want to welcome to the stage, because he's here hanging with me in Phoenix. And it was like a Christmas present to have him here. So, D, please help me welcome to the stage my man, the one and only Darren Del Quadro. Dun, dun,
Oh,
dun,
hi,
dun.
Darren.
Hey, how are you?
Wow. So you're going to join us in this conversation here. This is awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, thanks for having me on. I didn't know I was going to be coming on, so it's kind of a surprise.
Well, I got. Go
Go
ahead,
ahead.
D. Sorry.
I was just going to ask him if he had a chance to read that list of things and had any thoughts.
I did. It was up, and then I just went away, so I can't see it anymore. There we go. Achievements, accomplishments. Yeah.
So while you're looking at list over, D, let me give you a little bit. Let me just tell the audience a little bit about my man, Darren Del Quadro. So me and Darren, I was at work at the Hilton back in 2002, and at that job, it was my job to talk to every single person that stepped foot on the property. I got and help them. And this guy walks up, and I offer him a hand, and he like looks at me. He looks at me funny, like he's seen a ghost or something. I was like, "Can I help you?" Like I shake everybody's hand, and I was about to shake his hand. He was like looking at me like he didn't know if he wanted to shake my hand. He was like, "I was thinking about getting a job here, but now I'm not sure." And I was like, "No, that's a great place to work, man." He's like, I was like, "Where are you trying to get a job at?" He was like, "I was thinking about getting a job at the Bell Stand, but it looks like you work at the Bell Stand." And I was like, "Yeah, dude, it's a great job, man. I mean, would you like to talk to the Bell captain?" And like, and I, so he went and got a job. He got a job there. And we worked together for about a year before we really started becoming friends. In fact, it wasn't until he went to school in Tallahassee that we really clicked. And like years later, I was talking about that, and he was like, "Man, when I first met you, I thought you were such a fucking tool." And I was like, "Why?" Like, why? I know, right? I was like, "Why?" Well, and I'm thinking the first time that we met was at the Hilton, and I admit I did some tool type things there. I was kind of, the guy in Office Space that's like, the little restaurant guy that's like shooting the machine guns. I was kind of like that guy at the Hilton sometimes. So when he said that he thought I was a tool, I was like, okay.
You had a headband on the first time I met you, so that's kind of where that came from.
Yeah. So I come to find
out, you
out
had socks all the way up to your knees.
So come to find out, I was like, dude, we met at the Hill. He's like, nah, dude, we met at O-Dub. I went to the girls' softball gym one time looking for a gym to work out, and you were the only one in there. And like you had a headband on and like wristbands, and your socks pulled up and like short shorts. And I was like, I asked you if I could work out in the gym, and you were like, yeah, man, it's just me here, but you can work out. And then I guess you didn't stay because I was the only one that was there. But I remember it because here's the thing, D-Rex. The reason I had that headband on was because my boy Gish, the day before, last time we played basketball together, they made some moves on me, and I was complaining about my sweat getting in my eyes and my eyes burning, and that's how he was able to do some moves on me. And so he bought me, in an effort to make fun of me, he bought me this Michael Jordan headband and wristband so I wouldn't complain about sweat anymore. And so I was wearing them at the gym before we went to play basketball at the court at O-Dub. So the only reason I was wearing that and looking goofy was because I was trying to like make fun of them, for giving me these goofy stuff to wear. So I was going to wear it and try to look goofy. But I got to admit, man, although entertainment has been your calling card, Darren, we have had some really intelligent conversations. And that's why I didn't have any qualms to bring you on and let you, speak your piece about these things. What we're talking about is being mindful, about how you turn into the new year and planning ahead, looking back through the lens of pride and regret so that you can plan with the goal of maximizing the things you're proud of and minimizing the things you'll regret. Right. And so these are just some things that we're talking about being aware of when you're doing that. And like, some of these things are pretty evident, like relationships, not so much, but like well-being and self-care. We should definitely be proud of ourselves when we are taking care of ourselves, Number 5, contributions and giving back. How many of us actually do? I know a lot of my friends that are religious tithe, and that's great. That counts, but I know this. I have always been very generous, or most of my life. I wasn't as generous when I was younger because I was poor. It's easier to be generous when you're not poor.
Mm-hmm. This is actually one area where I feel like I am proud of myself because I've been doing a lot of this. Here, let me just grab my example here. This is like the 7th and 8th kitten I've raised this year to get adopted out. And I've been doing a lot of this. I have been raising kittens all year long. And this is one thing that I have actually been on top of and doing well. I feel like I've raised a bunch of really good kittens. So I am proud of myself in this way.
That's awesome.
Rochelle's over here cracking up. She said, I don't know how to do Facebook and you at the same time. And look, we got Roots and Fruits from Cowboy Boots, Cowgirl Kelly in the house. By the way, D-Rex, I think we should talk more about maybe another potential veganuary. I did good. I did good with No Nonsense November, and Darren was actually talking last night about it, about making some changes for the better. And so when I saw Kelly is in the house, that's what I made, what made me think of that was she's my vegan inspiration.
Yeah. And it would be great to have her back on and talk more about some of the vegan dishes that she cooks. And yes, you should definitely come on. So I'm not sure who Skidmore is, but
Skid on.
Skid on, Skidster.
Tell him, Del Quadro.
The Skidomaniac.
Skid and I actually started a company last year, a recruiting firm, and it's been a big challenge for both of us, but it's been awesome. It's been awesome to kind of go through and kind of start this whole new gig together. I do think giving back is important. I think about that often. Probably don't do it as much as I should, but I think that's definitely an important one. Sorry, I didn't have a lot of time to really look at these, and I was kind of put on the spot.
That's okay,
So,
because this is the perfect time for me to tell you about an opportunity for you guys to be able to give back. Is if
yeah.
you
Oh, sookie now, just in time for Christmas, but no time to wait. So go to the
okay, scratch the
hswa.org
Christmas
and
part.
click on the menu dots where you'll find the donate tab that leads to the Schaefer Squad merch link. Scroll past the greeting to find our wide range of Schaefer Squad merch, from adult tees, kid tees, onesies, and beanies for the babies, adult hoodies, hats and kicks, an apron for the cook, a hoodie for the pet, and a puzzle for the family. All prices include the outrageous cost of shipping, and all proceeds go toward helping Schaefer get a potentially life-changing stem cell treatment. You gotta believe. And always remember, we're all in this together.
See it when you see me, but you gotta believe me. Ain't nothing coming easy my way. No, I fucking work for this.
So I'm trying to get a clean version of the theme song from Strange Tang. By the way, anybody likes that song, you can go to elevatedunderground.com. Those dudes are making dope music all day, every day. I think they won Emerald Coast Artist of the Year. I don't know how many years in a row, and that's a big deal, man. The Emerald Coast stretches a long distance, and they're the dudes down there, man. So support Strange Tang and the Strangers of Elevated Underground for us. And look, so there the contributions can be done in a lot of different ways. There's a lot of different ways to be generous, and it doesn't have to be monetary. But what we're trying to do is, as far as get Schaefer down to Panama, does take money, and so there are multiple different ways to get involved. The Schaefer Squad gear here is more of an effort to raise awareness. D-Rex.
Yeah, that's definitely an important aspect of it, because when people ask you about your Schaefer Squad shirt or hoodie, I just got my shirt. I got it in light blue so I could match
Nice.
Swede.
Hell
And
yeah.
and
I
when
still
people
need to get
ask
mine.
you about it, yeah, definitely, it's easy to do. Go to the website, go under donate. It's right there. Get your Schaefer Squad gear. And when people ask you about it, you can tell them that we're trying to raise money for him to get a stem cell treatment, and you can tell them where to go to donate. And that is so important. So it's raising awareness. It's great to have this right here, advertising on your chest for this great little boy that we all love.
Awesome. Love it.
Yeah. So, Dee, can you think of any times in your life where you are either proud of yourself or, like, looking back, and especially in 2023, when it comes to contributions or giving back or helping? I know that you've had some, your family's, here at the Get Busy Living Project. We talk about adversity and getting through it. I know that you've had your share. I know that you've been helpful, but I know that maybe you, at one point, I heard you mention that you felt like maybe you didn't help enough. Like, you got anything you want to share that, like, your experience could help our audience?
Well,
I mean, we do. We do like Christmas events for families. My wife and I do, and it feels good when you do that. I think that's just the feeling you get from it is kind of the reward, of just knowing you're helping out families, going and dropping off gifts at their house. Yeah, I've always, like I said, I don't think I do it enough, but it's definitely something that's very rewarding, and I think it's something we should practice more of, for sure.
Oh
I
yeah.
think that we probably always feel like we don't do enough. It's okay to feel like that, because as long as you are doing something, that's all that matters. It would be hard to feel like you're doing enough.
If you guys are in the comments, let us know where you're commenting from. We got Ward Wells. What's up, Pop? Are you in the AK, Alaska? By the way, we might be bringing some people to Alaska soon. I don't know.
We also, Janica just mentioned something. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, did you bring someone on?
No, go ahead. What were you about to say, D?
So we have a neighbor kid who is 14 years old. That's really good friends with our 7-year-old, and they've been friends since my boy was like 3 years old. And the kid doesn't really have, his father passed away when he was 1, I think, and his mom's not too supportive. They live in a tiny little condo. So anyways, he just moved in with us this year, and we got him a bedroom and got him all set up at our house. And that's actually, he's been a blessing to our family, if anything, man. It's been really good for all of us. So thanks, babe, for reminding me of that.
Yeah.
text message just now. But yeah, it's been and that's been a huge reward. And like I said, it's more of a blessing for us, having him there, having him living with us now. And yeah, we just did Christmas with him before we came out here, actually. So it was a lot
Awesome.
of fun.
Awesome.
He was a great kid.
That reminds me, another one of my top dogs, Jay Brown, took in one of his family members, and it's his son now, and he's a cool little dude. And actually, he's not even a little dude anymore. He's, I think, graduated high school now and moving on. And taking people in is that's a huge contribution, bro. And that's I'm really happy to hear you say that. And looking at the next thing on the list, balance and time management. We've talked about that on several different occasions throughout the life of this podcast, because it always comes up. And the Get Busy Living podcast, we're doing once a month. I'm doing once a month because that's how I live, and I want to break the streak, and I want to do it for you and give you something to be interested in. But Getting Busy Living is different for different people. But each week we try to bring some nuggets of information, whether it's through other people's past experiences and the guests that we have, or through our own research, or through our own struggles. A lot of what we've brought forth has been things I've been trying to figure out, and I just share my struggle with the audience. But we always want it to be that, so that we can feel like our audience is actually learning, and gravitating and moving towards living a purposeful, deliberate, intentional life. Like not just letting life happen to you, but getting busy living, like making the life that you want happen. You know what I mean? And so we try to offer stuff like this for people to become more aware. I mean, education is one way of putting it, enlightenment, awareness, all that kind of stuff, and we've come up with balance and time management, like having a balanced life and time management in so many different things that we've brought up as far as nuggets, like when Price was talking about just breathe, we were talking about how sometimes it feels like you don't have enough time in the world for anything. You don't have time to breathe. But it's crazy how if you just stop and take a breath, you don't feel like you wasted any time, and that's like really important. And I regret that I don't spend more time writing stuff down. I have a serious mental block. Writing stuff down is hard for me. And the fact that my hand has become less useful makes writing more difficult, which makes it even less likely that I'm going to do it.
I would say that's probably one of my regrets too, is that I didn't do enough to-do lists, physically writing down what I had to do. And it kind of left me spinning a lot this year. And in order to make next year a little less chaotic, I need to get back to daily to-do lists and then bigger to-do lists on the side of that. And you know what? Let's put this up on the screen real quick. Wardwell says it's more blessed to give than receive. And yes, I feel like what you were saying, where you brought this little boy into your home and what Jay Brown did, I feel like that sort of giving is almost self-care. I feel like that becomes self-care. When you are giving, it feels good. And that is self-care.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. That's, when you were Getting Busy Living a couple weeks ago, D-Rex, Scooty Wells and I were talking about that. And also I did an entire podcast on why it feels good to give. It's woven into the fabric of our being. Like we as humans have been sacrificing each other and ourselves and our meals and our time for greater good, since the beginning of time. So it's generosity is woven into the fabric of our being to want to give. And this last one on this list that I think really is very relevant. Resilience. There's been a lot of that. Just to give the audience what they already know. Like we've done podcasts where I've been locked out of my house. I've done podcasts from in my van. I've done podcasts from
hospital.
The hospital. I try to stay, I'm out here getting busy living, and sometimes I'm getting busy living on a Thursday, and we got to do, we dedicated ourselves to this show. We've been able to do it every single week except for Thanksgiving, and I think one other week we missed. And believe me, the things that we were resilient enough through on the weeks that we did do it, whether it was a hospitalization or D-Rex could barely talk or the internet was going out or whatever, we have been resilient at making this thing happen. And I'm very proud of that. And we're going to talk at the end of the show. We're going to talk about the donors and those of you that have contributed so far, because that's something that I'm proud of. Is that I like to think that I don't have a reputation for being untrustworthy, at least not that I'm aware of. And I think I'm aware of what people think of me. But I don't think that I'm not trustworthy. I believe that I'm a very trusting person because I aspire to be trustworthy. And luckily for me, I haven't been burned very often in my life, and I don't have a background of burning people, but it takes people aren't going to just start giving money to me and trusting me to send people to Panama right away. They need to know that I'm in this to win this, the fact that, we've got two very prestigious donors that have happened throughout the holiday season to help Schaefer. And we've got, dozens others that have donated. And both of you guys is on our list that we're going to show later. But I think that the resilience that we've shown with this show is what they see. They don't see the nonprofit work. They see the show. Right. Mm-hmm. And so I'm hoping that as they get it, as they see us coming on every Thursday, and I know there's hundreds of you guys that get that text message from me every week. And I know there's hundreds of you that never show up. As long as you don't mind me inviting, I don't mind that you don't show up. I only care of I only care about the ones that do show up. So D, thank you for being willing to step in and be a part of the show while you're here kicking it with me.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on, man. I appreciate it.
So the next thing, these are areas when we look back at this past year and talked about how pride and regret can affect you in these areas. But there's a lot more that you want to consider when you're looking back at the year. So it's not just pride and regret. Those are just great ways of guiding yourself of how virtuous you want to be and how what you want to avoid. It's like, it's one manner of steering towards something, that's going towards the pride, and there's another manner of avoiding danger, and that's the avoiding regret type of stuff. But these are other different things that when you're assessing yourself, looking at moving into the year, what do you want to be aware of? And me and D-Rex have talked about having a weekly segment about gratitude. I mean, what can you say about gratitude that hasn't been said on the show? But I feel like we could talk about the gratitude forever.
Yeah, you could have an entire podcast on gratitude. Like the entire series could be on gratitude, And you know what I'm grateful for right now is that I see a lot of people here. And I want to say hi to some people that were late. Let's say hi to Scooty Wells.
Scooty Wells.
What's up, Scooty?
Let's say hi to our Shoy Boy.
Shoy Boy is in the house.
He made me my t-shirt back in the day. You know which one I'm talking about.
No, Darren. We don't know which one you're talking about. Why don't you enlighten?
Let's get back to gratitude. Yeah, I am big on gratitude, though, man. I wake up grateful every morning. It's kind of a thing I've been doing since, I guess, 2012 when I moved to Texas, and it kind of changed my whole perspective. It really changed my perspective on life. Makes you feel good. The breathing, like you were talking about earlier, I've been practicing a lot of that lately. But the gratitude really just kind of brings you into just a great state of awareness of like a positive place. And it's just saying thank you, really. There's nothing to it. And it just starts off with a little bit of gratitude. I'm grateful I can move these fingers. I'm grateful for my boy. I'm grateful for my wife. And then it just opens up this whole door of things I'm grateful for. And it puts me in this great mood and kind of helps me go about my day. So I practice it every morning. Feels good.
It's a great thing to start off with, because it's like when you practice gratitude, especially the first thing in the morning, like you're describing, it primes the pump for the happy juices, and joy and happiness, I think, come from, I mean, not everybody is grateful and they're experiencing joy and happiness. So I'm not swearing to it, but, it leads to it, so looking back and planning ahead, look back at the times that you were able to experience joy and happiness and mindfully pursue more instances like that. Think about, are did like Darren was just gushing about this trip that he just took to Mexico, how beautiful it was, and my boy Dave, who's going to be coming with me for New Year's, was talking about how he was just down in Cabo, gushing about Cabo, and like joy. The joy and happiness that you can get from getting busy living. It doesn't have to be travel, but that's definitely one of the ways, And we were just talking about relationships. Like I was telling D-Rex when I was structuring this, that there's some repetitiveness here because in the beginning we were looking at a certain angles of reflection, and now we're looking at just kind of big picture stuff. And relationships, I put in here twice because it can't be overstated. We've talked many times about growing a community here and wanting to attract like-minded people that are go-getters, you know what I mean? And so, there's been a lot of relationship advice on here, a lot of stuff that I've learned for sure.
So what I like about this list here is it kind of gives you this easy list of guidelines of forming what you want to change in the new year. It's like a perfect guidelines for forming your New Year's resolutions. I'm not saying all 12 of these should go on your New Year's resolutions, but if you look down this list, I'm sure there's something that you can find that you want more of in the new year. And I like curiosity on here, actually, because I feel like I was telling you on the last podcast where my friend was inviting me to a book club, and I said, I want to read. and that wasn't enough. So I've decided that in the new year, I am going to set a little goal for myself with reading every day. I want to be more curious about reading instead of just saying, well, I'd like to. That's definitely going on my resolutions list.
Yeah, I found the curiosity thing to be very intriguing also, because when you have stagnance in your life, if you find yourself just going through this repetitive hamster wheel, a lot of times curiosity is gone, and that's why you've allowed yourself to just keep on running this same track over and over. Like we are all very curious children. Children are curious by nature, right? And that seems like one of the things that is lost as we get into adulthood and we start having our grind and our routine. We stop becoming curious. And man, when I think about getting busy living, man, curiosity is one of the largest and looming issues, because I just want to eat the whole earth, man. I want to step foot on all of it. And it's funny because I haven't stepped foot on any of it in 6 years.
Well, metaphorically. And you know what? Have you ever been on a road trip with somebody who doesn't want to stop anywhere? They just kind of want to get to the end city.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's definitely more interesting when you're a little more curious about, this exit looks really strange, or what is this upcoming crater, or you should take the side roads. You should be curious about what these little things are along the way. It's going to make your trip way more interesting, because also it's going to make your trip on Earth much more interesting to take these side roads as well.
Sure.
Funny, right after that, number 8 on the list, adventure and exploration. So being curiosity isn't just about travel, but that's on the list. Adventure and exploration. Like you want to, you want to have like experiences that keep that fire burning in you. Like if it's just the same old all the time. I just feel like I've known grumpy old men that are grumpy and old that are the same age as me, but they're old men compared to me because, they've gotten themselves into a life that's comfortable, and then they just lost the curiosity. And then when I talk to them about travel, they're like, they don't want to hear it. Like, and I think we talked about this last week. My buddy was in Japan, and he told me when he texted me from Japan that I was part of the voice in his head. He heard my voice encouraging him to travel, and he's now gotten to Japan, and I like that, that I have that kind of resonance with people, because I really feel like if you don't stay curious and you don't get out there and see things, that, man, it's so easy to just become a grumpy old man,
Sure. Yeah. Yep.
And then once you get out there, you do become more curious. It's almost like you just kind of have to take that first step.
Yeah, it's like it's a downhill. It's a slippery slope. Once you get out, like when you catch the people that talk about wanderlust, a lot of them didn't know what it meant to be wandering and then they did it and they're like, this is awesome, and they never come back. I was asking Darren last night, man. We've been through so much together in the past 20 years, man. 22 years we've been boys, D. And and I was like, what are some of your most fondest moments? And because we've got so many like epic things that we've done, and like just like imagery burned in your head. Like image I have of Darren burned in my head is him at the Destin Harbor with TMG tattooed across his forehead.
Yeah, that was an epic moment. Vaguely remember that one. We had a lot of
what is that? What's TMG?
Oh, it was my nickname down in Florida.
Don't want to expand on that.
Come on. Right. Bullshit. I'm telling. So Darren's a big guy. Darren's 6'5", right? And he's got a huge meaty head and huge hands.
Huge meaty head.
And he's got this thunderous voice. And so we'd be out socializing. Destin is it's a nonstop social engagement. And Darren got a reputation for calling the girls. Like when you're young, you see a car, like, oh, I got that blue Corvette, that's mine. So Darren's like, oh, that's my girl. Every hot girl that walks in the bar, oh, that's my girl right there. You walk up to him, put his arm around him, like, you're my girl. Don't let any of these clowns hit on you. You're mine.
It's when everyone was starting to say like OMG and WTF, and they were saying the words outright. So I just said, all right, that's my girl, TMG or something. I can't remember how it came up. But yeah, then I got that nickname. That's why I threw it up there.
That's not what Kenny says. He says too many gnomes. Which I kind of like that one. I like the visuals that come with that.
Shoy boy, where are you coming at us from? Are you in Fort Walton, or are you over there near Scooty Wells? So moving on this list, there's a couple more things that I want to talk about. Balance. We have talked about balance, but you cannot stress that enough, man. I know that not everybody can go on an epic adventure a month, but man, you got to do something. Sometimes once a year, you got to. You got to have some balance. I mean, working is commendable and noble, and provide for your family and protect and do what you got to do. But man, part of the self-care that we mentioned up there, man, you gotta have balance. You can't be all work and no play. It'll make Jack a dull boy. We just talked about that last week. So balance is super important. And it's not just about work and play. It's about, spending and saving. There's a lot of areas that's applied to. And then here we are back at this acts of kindness and generosity. So I got these lists from different locations, and I was doing different types of research when I was trying to prove these points. But like I said earlier, man, there's some repetition here, because whether you're plotting or reflecting, there are things that depending on how you shed the light on them, cast a different kind of shadow, and you want to be aware of it. We talked about how good it feels to give, and so when you're assessing your past, it doesn't have to be just about giving. Like acts of kindness can be helping, somebody move. I mean, there's several people in this chat box right here that have helped me move, including this guy, Scooty Wells, YCHTB. Speaking of acronyms, we're not going to tell people what that one's about. Oh, so he said, Swell said he just left. Look at Boogie's dad. What's up, Pop? You don't have to be old to be grumpy. I like happy people. That is why I like you guys. All right, man. I like that.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I want to talk about balance really quick, because I don't feel like I had good balance this year. I did not. I was expecting too much of myself. But there was one moment, it was on Thanksgiving actually, where I always my family meets up with my friend's family in the woods to do Thanksgiving. And this year it was too much, and we just decided to bring dessert. So we did dessert in the woods. And afterwards, we went for a little hike. And I found myself like halfway through the hike, kind of just running and laughing, because I was so happy to be out in the woods and just running, and the yellow leaves are coming down. And I was just so happy. And I realized I have not done this at all this year until now. Thanksgiving. So I definitely want more of that in my life next year.
Well, I don't know what you got going on in February and March, but April, I'm campaigning hard, girl, to get you back down in Florida. We're gonna go frolicking in the streams.
Oh my goodness. Let's see what happens.
I'm up for that one.
Yes, April we're gonna go on another canoe trip in April, and hopefully I'll see a lot of you guys there. And these are aspirations and future goals. If you don't, who said it? Darren, you're good at this personal development quote stuff. Who's the one that said if planning to fail is failing to plan is planning to fail?
Oh, I've heard that. I don't know who said it.
Failing to plan is planning to fail. So even if you're not planning, you are. If you're not planning, you're failing by planning. You're planning to fail. And so I definitely want to let you guys know that there are some duties that we could use some help with. Event planning in 2023. So if any of you of our audience members are interested and enjoy planning events, I could use some help with that. I'll get some more information to you if you ever want to hit me up. It's not something, I'm not going to make this podcast a great big classified ad, but we are I'm going into grad school this fall, this hopefully spring or summer or fall, to do nonprofit entrepreneurship, and so a nonprofit that is going to accomplish the epic stuff that I want to accomplish. We're going to have a lot of team members. So anybody that wants to help me out with my future goals, please do. And I just want to go back to this acts of kindness and generosity and remind you guys about this. So we talked about Schaefer Squad gear. Can you hear me okay when the music is playing?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, I can.
Okay. Good. So the Schaefer Squad gear is a great way of raising awareness, but there's quite a hefty cost to providing the stuff. This here is another way for you to get involved, but this is much more involved. Not only are you going to get a book, which we've already talked about, the Life and Years 2 Disney's book a little bit, and we're going to talk a lot more about that in the months to come. But the first 1,000 people that donate are entered into a raffle to win an all-expense, airfare included guided tour in Alaska. So you can go to the hswa.org and reserve your copy there. And not only will you receive a copy of a book, not only will 2 people have the most epic adventure of their life, but the overall goal is to send Schaefer and then 9 more people, 9 more after Schaefer, but we got to get 1 there first. Sending 9 more people to Panama to have life-changing stem cell therapies. And once we get that done, we're going to change the Help Swede Walk Again to Help Someone Walk Again, and I'm going to proudly move along. But that's the goal, is to get these 1,000 reservations so that we can print the books and send them, and get some people up to Alaska, and we can get Schaefer down to Panama. And the one last thing that I want to talk about is this is a list of donors that have already contributed to and gotten their raffle tickets, or their theoretic raffle tickets. We don't have physical raffle tickets, but I've got the list here. And I want to give a special big shout out to Belinda Shaw at the National Club in Erie. They donated a significant amount. If you go to the hswa.org and you don't want to, or you go to the order the books, if you donate 1,000 or more, then that gets you way more raffle tickets than what the typical donor would get. So please consider that. These are 2 examples of folks that have taken that route, and it's a huge act of kindness here for these guys to want to help Schaefer like this, and it's a huge vote of confidence for me. I can't tell you how much it warms my heart to know that you guys trust me. This is a list of people, to me, I take this very personally. This is people that trust me to get this thing done. And so I just want all you guys that are on this list to know that I appreciate you. I appreciate the trust that you've placed in me. And I am not going to stop until I get this guy there. And after this guy's there, I got 9 more to go before I'm going to even consider passing on the Help Someone Walk Again organization to somebody else. You know, I'm trying to get busy living. I got 50 or 40 months to go. December is month 15. Crazy. 40 months, 40 more months to go.
Amazing.
So,
It's awesome,
yeah,
Swede. That's why so
You've
many
made
people
us-
love you, man. All this stuff you do. You're always putting people first, putting people in front of you. It's awesome, man. Love it.
I appreciate that, bro. That you say it frankly as though it's something that I am fully aware of. It doesn't sink in like that to me. I tell you what, we've talked about it many times about what it was like to wake up in Malaysia, not knowing where the hell I was and forgetting that I had been paralyzed. And I looked down and I've got all these tubes in my body. I got tubes in my nose, my mouth, and my ears, and my chest, and my belly, and my arms, and my wrists, and my head. And there's all kinds of machines making different noises, like keeping me alive. And Scooty Wells is sitting in the bed next to me laughing. And I was like, I didn't remember where I was or anything. And I was like, what the? I tried to talk to him, but I couldn't talk because I had a tube in my throat. And he could tell that my demeanor changed. And he's like, what, man, what? And I didn't know what was going on. And he's like, here, use your iPad. They had set me up with an iPad so that I could barely lift my arm, but I could type on the iPad what I was trying to say. And I just typed on there. I was like, I don't know. I don't remember. Where are we? And he's like, wow. And he like kind of had to start over and tell me what was going on. And what he told me was that people like are on this donors list. Thousands, he said, thousands of them came out of the woodwork to help me. And I think that in itself should be the vote of confidence that you're talking about, D, that I should feel. But I don't take it for granted. I feel like I need to earn it every day. I really do. And that's why I'm so passionate about getting this done. I will not rest until I feel like I have justified having my life saved. Because frankly, what I was doing out in Bali, I was helping people have a cool place to stay in Bali, but I wasn't impacting lives in any major way, you know. And I had a lot of people impact my life in a major way. And I probably, you know, I'm still owed it to society to not just check out just yet. You know I owed more to my daughter, and luckily she's an open mind and open heart, and she and I have reconciled, and we're once again back on a healthy level. And I know I have a lot of work to do there, you know. So it's not something that, you know, that I ever am just going to take for granted. You know, it's important to me that you guys know that that, you know, I'm very grateful. Very grateful for this whole opportunity, you know, and I'm not going to rest. So please get a book, get a Schaefer Squad shirt, you know, and if you and if you don't want to, or really, to be honest with you, the most impactful way you could help is by sending recurring donations. So you can go to hswa.org and get on the recurring donations list, whether it's $1 a month or 5 or 25 or 50. Like, you can put your own amount in there, or you can, you know, $1 a month is fine. I can't tell you how much it tickles me when I look at our recurring donations list and I see the $1 a month. It's like, for some reason, I get more tickled by that than I do the one. There's plenty of people giving larger amounts, but for some reason, that's them saying, you know, that like they might not know exactly what I'm doing, but they believe that it's worth it. Like, you know, here, $1 a month, I got you, you know, like, and so I would love to see that go up. You know, I know that there's ways to do things like Patreon and other ways of monetizing this thing, but I can't think of any better way to monetize it than just to send a small donation straight to the nonprofit. You know, there's no avenues where there's commerce, where there's a product being sold and there's taxes being paid, and, you know, there's all kinds of middlemen getting a piece of the pie. The most direct way to help is to do a straight donation like that. The only middleman is that there's processing fees for the companies that operate that stuff. I can't get around that. But the easiest way for you to really have the most impactful way of getting the money straight to the resource that needs it, and that's Schaefer. We're trying to get Schaefer to Panama to get the stem cell treatment, is to do to do straight cash donations. You know, if you don't want to do recurring, you can do one time, or you can just keep on coming back. I want to give a shout out I just sent Brett a text of mine and your picture of us today at lunch. And Brett is one example of somebody that he had donated already several times. And then when we got the word that Schaefer had been accepted at the Stem Cell Institute in Panama back in, like, I think we did that episode in like October, Brett texted me, and like I immediately got like notifications that he was donating more, man. I mean, that's awesome. I appreciate that. You know, that's like, man, it's talking about things that I'm proud of. I'm proud that people trust me, you know, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, you have a big goal here, and you've been doing a great job of moving forward toward that goal. I know sometimes you feel like it's slow, but it's a huge mountain you're trying to move, and you're moving it every day. I see it, and it's great.
People see it back home too, Swede. People always bring up Swede. How's Swede doing? He's always so happy on this podcast. They love you, man.
Well,
you're an inspiration. You're an inspiration to so many people. I don't think you even realize it, man. You probably don't even know. You know.
Well, you know, that's
your experience you went through and how you've handled it, man. How you responded to it. It's amazing.
Thank you, man.
Sure
It means a lot to me to coming from you, man. I respect your opinion as much as anybody on earth, bro. So I appreciate you telling me that. I hope that that everyone that you're referring to, they know that I'm not always happy, but I'm always happy when this show starts because I get to kick it with D-Rex for about 30 to 20, 15 to 20 minutes every week.
You know what?
The show goes on.
Something that people don't see is as the opening video is playing, I can see you. You can't see me. But I see you just beaming. You're ready to go, and I'm ready to go, and I'm over here, and we're both like, and nobody sees it, but we're always ready to go. Very excited every time that music's playing.
And he's got that drum roll going for you, D-Rex, that he does every time.
Every time.
It's funny because whether it's signing off or starting off, I don't think we've had a perfect execution. And at one point, D-Rex was like, maybe we should practice. And I was like, yeah, we should practice. And I was like, I ain't practicing, man. It's okay. We're natural humans, and that's why I like doing it live because I want people to know, man, we're just wearing it on our sleeve, man. We're just wearing it on our sleeve, you know, and we want to be relatable. We want people to know that, you know, we're not talking through some corporate veil, you know, where there's producers that are telling us what to say and what not to say. We're not politically driven. We're not, you know, religious, any kind of theology driven. We're just really just driven to try to help people. You know what I mean? And, having my life saved for me just lit that fire in me. And that's what I'm all about now. You know, so I want to say thank you very much, Darren Del Quadro, for being willing to pop in the show. Me and you're about to go get busy living as soon as this podcast is over. D-Rex, thank you.
And you are welcome, and thank you.
Hell yeah. So as you may be familiar with, we want to always encourage you. Always remember, we are all in this together. Always remember, no matter the weather, whether sunshine or rain, there's no joy without pain. Always remember, we're all in this together. Can I get a hell yeah?
Hell
yeah. Thanks for being here, Darren. Bye, everybody.
Thanks, Rex.
Hell
It's
yeah.
great talking with you.
But you gotta believe me.